Hi guys, Victor Quiroz, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services here, and today we're going to talk about things you should be expecting when buying your home. Now, a lot of first-time buyers are going to watch this video, so this is going to be really helpful to you, I hope. And we're going to start the video off right where you would have gotten your offer accepted by the seller. So congratulations, you just opened escrow, your financing is in place, you saw a ton of homes, you possibly wrote tons of offers, and maybe you even won a bidding war. So now you're in escrow. What do you expect? Here's what it is. You have 17 days to get lots of stuff done, removing contingencies, approving disclosures, and doing other little small stuff. So we're going to talk about it step by step. The first portion here is all within 17 days, all right? So the first thing you have to do after the seller accepts your offer and open escrow, you have to deposit your earnest money. That's the money that you put on the top line of your contract saying that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you take my offer, I'm going to give you this much money into escrow, and they can hold it as collateral in case I fail to close the deal. All right, so within 3 days, you have to deliver your earnest money deposit. Second thing that I wrote down, once you've opened escrow, your lender should quickly be ordering the appraisal, okay? So your lender orders the appraisal, not your agent, not escrow, not the seller. Your lender orders the appraisal. Now, it's important that your lender orders the appraisal quickly, almost immediately when he receives the copy of the executed contract and you open escrow, because again, you have 17 days to remove all of your contingencies, and the appraisal contingency is one of those. So get it done quickly. Just because your loan officer orders the appraisal inspection doesn't mean it's going to happen in 24 hours. Typically, appraisers go out anywhere from 3 to 7 days after they get the initial order from the lender. So make sure that's done quickly. Okay, so the next tip I have for you, after the lender orders the appraisal report, I would tell you to expect that your buyer's agent, if it's not me, hopefully it's some other great agent in the area or a great agent where you live at, the buyer's agent and you and the seller have to agree upon a day and time for you to do your formal home inspection. Now, I have another video on what to look for during your home inspection, but you should definitely schedule that quickly because, again, you have 17 days to remove your contingencies: appraisal, inspection, and loan. The appraisal's already been ordered by your loan officer, so now the next thing is for you to do your home inspection and get through that. So get through it quickly with your buyer's agent, with the seller's help, of course. The next thing you should expect, and hopefully this happens really early, almost immediately upon the seller accepting your offer, the listing agent should be sending your buyer's agent all of these seller disclosures. I'm talking transfer of disclosure statement, seller property questionnaire, lead base paint, FLD, essay, all these different forms. You got about 10 to 15 different disclosures from the seller that you as a buyer need to read through and approve. You have to have those turned back in, again, within 17 days of an open escrow, all right? So you want to review all that stuff with your buyer's agent. I like to do all of the disclosures and addendums and everything like that during the home inspection. So while the home inspector is off in the attic or in the crawl space doing his thing, me and you, me as a buyer's agent, you as the buyer, are sitting down reviewing all of the disclosures, making sure that everything's in your favor and there's no discrepancies. The next thing you should be expecting is for escrow to draw their transaction instructions, or escrow instructions, or escrow docs. People call them different things, but either way, escrow is the third party that makes sure the buyer and the seller's teams are playing by the same set of rules. So they take your contract, they reiterate it on their own contract forms, and they make you approve it. Not only that, but escrow also wants you to fill out the statement of information. I mean, where have you worked at for the past 10 years? Where have you lived at for the past 10 years? Past marriages, things like that, because they want to make sure that you are you and you're not somebody trying to steal somebody else's identity, okay? So be aware of that. Escrow will also connect you with title and your natural hazard disclosure report. So you'll get a preliminary title report seeing the legal description, the county and the state's description of the property you're purchasing, And of course, from escrow, you get that natural hazard disclosure talking about fire hazard zones, earthquake fault lines, maybe even your house is in a flood area and you want to be aware of that, okay? The next thing that should happen, again, during your home inspection, is you review all of your seller disclosures, HOA documents like we talked about previously. I love to do it, again, at the home inspection, so this way we knock out as many items off of our little transaction checklist as possible. Okay guys, one big tip here and thing that you should expect within your 17-day time frame after opening escrow is your appraisal report valuation, okay? This is huge because this can make or break your deal. Fact of the matter is, the appraisal report has broken lots of deals. Majority of the time when a deal falls apart, it's because of lending, and most of the time it's because of the appraisal report. There are three things that can happen. Your appraisal report can come in what we call at value, meaning your appraisal value matches to the dollar exactly what you guys have agreed upon in the purchase contract, okay? You buy it for $500,000 and the appraisal report comes in at $500,000. Congratulations, you remove your appraisal contingency, you move forward, you close on the house. Second thing that can happen with the appraisal report is the appraisal report comes in higher than contract price. So you bought the house for $500,000, but the appraisal report value comes in at $530,000. Congratulations, you walk in the deal with equity. When you get your key, you also get a $30,000 addition to your net worth. So that's the best deal possible when the appraisal comes in higher than purchase price. You got a steal of a deal. The third thing that can happen with an appraisal report is the deal killer, possibly. If the appraisal report comes in lower than your contract price, then you have a couple of different options. Let's talk it out here. You bought the house for $500,000, but the appraisal report comes in at $485,000. You got a $15,000 difference there, and you got to close the gap somehow. There's a couple of different things that can happen, but it's up to the seller as well, not just you. The seller can say, okay, we'll match the appraisal report value. Your buyer's agent draws an addendum to change the price from $500,000 to match the appraisal report value at $485,000. Second thing that can happen is the seller says, I don't want to lower the price. You bought it for $500,000. I don't care what the appraisal report came in at. Give me $500,000 or we kill the deal. At that time, you as a buyer would have the opportunity to negotiate something in the middle, walk away from the deal, or come out of pocket the extra money to make the difference between the appraisal report value and your contract price. So the appraisal report is a huge part of your transaction and everybody's waiting for it. It's probably one of the most important things that can happen during the transaction and the escrow period. Once you got your home inspection done, you guys have agreed to a value based on the appraisal report and your loan's good, you remove all of your contingencies within 17 days. And when you remove your contingencies, you're telling the seller that, yeah, I'm buying this house. This is my property. But if you don't close the deal, remember, liquidated damages clause, if you cancel the transaction after removing your contingencies, the seller by default gets to keep the amount of deposit actually paid, or up to 3% of the total purchase price as liquidated damages. You don't want to give the seller your money. If you're going to cancel the deal, cancel prior to the 17th day in escrow, not after. Okay? So that's your first 17 days of a 30-day escrow, but it keeps going. Let's say you remove all of your contingencies and you can see the finish line now. You're at the home stretch. We're going to close this deal out. Here's what you should expect on the last 13 days of your transaction. Well, I have written down here, your lender finalizes your loan. They're going to finalize the underwriting. They're going to verify all your debt to income ratio and your employment, okay? So be aware that they're going to be working in the background, even though you might not see them doing a whole lot. They're investigating you and the loan process to make sure that you can, actually pay back everything you're promising to pay. Your lender finalizes the details of your loan and draws documents, okay? The promissory note, which will be delivered to escrow. During that time frame, somewhere 5 days prior to close of escrow, you and I, if you're not working with me as your buyer's agent, whoever your buyer's agent is, you guys should do a final walkthrough. Go to the property 5 days prior to close of escrow and take a look. Make sure they didn't throw some wild keg party. Make sure that everything's intact. All the repairs that you've negotiated are complete. And you probably want to take a measuring tape and you want to measure for your fridge, your washer, your dryer, your bedroom furniture, living room furniture, televisions, things like that. So be proactive and get an idea of what you want to do to the property during your final walkthrough. Last but not least, okay, prior to close of escrow, you're going to sign your loan documents, preferably with escrow, but if not, maybe they'll send a mobile notary to meet you and explain the promissory note you're going to be signing. Also, once you sign your loan docs, then escrow will forward them back to the lender. The lender will review them, and if it's A-OK, the lender wires all the remaining funds of your loan to escrow. Escrow then takes that money. They give the order to the title company to record the new deed in your name, and voila, you got confirmation of recording. You're now a homeowner. So I'd give you your keys at that time. You'd be able to move in and do whatever you want as long as it's negotiated that way. And then about 24 hours after you have confirmation of recording, escrow will balance the file out, make sure that the seller gets their money, make sure that you get your closing documents so you can write off some of those fees you paid up front in your taxes next year, and you're done. That's what you should expect when you're buying a home here in California. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, go ahead, log on to my website, victorforhomes.com. Let me know what you have questions on, and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks for watching.